What up, y'all? It's Damian the homie, and this is my second channel. You can go subscribe to the main channel over here, but also subscribe to this one, please, if you can, please. This is my first video on here. Oh my god, how exciting. I don't know, I guess the idea for this second channel is just to post miscellaneous videos, or I guess supplementary content to the main channel videos, as is going to be the case here. Because I made a video about my experience watching Chainsaw Man, and it went over kind of well. I mean, I think I did a good job articulating myself, but that's just me. I feel like I should be able to gas myself once in a while. But I did get some stuff wrong because I'm dumb and probably have some degree of brain damage from all the years of alcoholism. The one I think that stuck out to me the most was people telling me that Fujimoto maybe wasn't as deeply involved in the production of the anime as I may have thought. I don't know how true this is. I tried looking into a bunch of sources and I got a bunch of conflicting opinions, so if someone can actually give me like a reputable source that says how involved Fujimoto was in the production of the Chainsaw Man anime, that'd be great. Because if he wasn't as involved as I thought, then that kind of changes my entire argument. Basically what I was saying in the original video is, I think Chainsaw Man is an incredible anime, of course, but a poor adaptation. But if Fujimoto was heavily involved in it and, he liked how it turned out, who am I to say anything? That was the whole point I was making, right? If he really didn't have a lot to do with it, now I'm looking at MAPPA kind of crazy because it's like, I don't know about y'all. All my points about the aesthetic of the manga not being captured hold especially true now if Fujimoto wasn't involved, because then it just shows that, either they just wanted to go their own route and make their own interpretation of the source material, or they just made a bad adaptation. If it's the former, that's absolutely fine, right? It's almost preferable when an adaptation takes its own spin on the source material. You're completely free to do that if you're Studio Mappa. But I'm also free to think it's a bad adaptation. Also, another thing is that there were a lot of comments saying like, bro, why are you putting manga expectations onto an animated medium? You can't capture the grit because it'd be too hard to animate. Fujimoto's art style is impossible to adapt to anime. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard, and it makes me think that a lot of y'all out there just don't watch anime. The gritty line work of Chainsaw Man is impossible to adapt to anime. Mob Psycho literally just aired the same season. It's a non-conventional art style that's expressive, not dull and Hollywood, blockbustery, but it's also one that uses its art style to create visceral and impactful imagery. And that's not the only example. There's a bunch of anime that capture a raw feel that doesn't look perfectly polished and CGI'd. Like, bro, Studio Trigger pulled it off with Kill la Kill almost 10 years ago on a shoestring budget. You're telling me MAPPA couldn't do the same thing, or at least something similar? It's not like I'm telling them to make the most groundbreaking, high-budget, avant-garde, hand-drawn thing ever, and it's not like I'm even saying they didn't have moments where they captured a bit of this essence either. All I want is something that feels as visceral as the manga, because that's kind of a huge part of what makes Chainsaw Man Chainsaw Man. I mean, I feel like that's not a crazy thing to ask for. And again, this goes back to the idea of great anime, bad adaptation. Just because I think it's a bad adaptation of what the manga was going for doesn't mean I don't think what MAPPA came up with, doesn't look beautiful in its own right. Chainsaw Man is a visually stunning anime. I literally say it in the video. It's just not how I would imagine Chainsaw Man to look from reading the manga, that's all. People were acting like I said the show is dog shit or something. It's kind of wild. But you know what is interesting? I recently watched Totally Not Mark's video about Chainsaw Man, which you should do too. It's a great video, much more well-made and in-depth than my whack video. But he brings up a point about the production team on Chainsaw Man specifically wanting to capture a movie feel as much as possible. That meaning, no typical anime stuff, no, exaggerated faces, nothing overly cartoony, because they wanted it to literally feel like a 2D film. And this goes back to the point I made in my original video about Fujimoto's film influences. Regardless of what his level of involvement was, I can see Fujimoto being like, oh, this is the aesthetic I want you to, y'all should try and go for. And if that's the case, that explains why the anime looks the way it does, being all, more looking like a Hollywood movie instead of a cartoonish anime, which again, does not look bad. It's just not Chainsaw Man, at least not for me. And now that I'm looking through the comments, there's a lot of people talking about the CGI too, which, I figured would be a point of contention. A lot of comments talking about, oh no, it's not actually CGI, or a lot of people said that the clip I used was a 2D shot. And to that I say, yeah, I know. I literally put a screenshot of the tweet showing the 2D storyboarding in the video, like right after that. The point still stands that there are CGI elements in that sequence, and to me they looked silly. That's all I'm saying. What else were y'all saying? Lots of comments on this video. Lots of comments. Appreciate all y'all. Mostly y'all. This person says, I think the casting was excellent. Kobane and Kishibe were exactly how I imagined them to sound like, and even better. Makima, Denji, and Power fit the roles perfectly, and the same can be said for most side characters too. The only one whose casting I don't agree with is the Angel Devil. I wanted Angel to have a more masculine voice, but I don't particularly mind what we got. Yeah, I agree. The voice cast is great. You mentioned mostly everyone, but I would also point out like Aki sounds good too. Like Himeno sounds really good. But yeah, there was no way Angel was gonna sound any other way. I knew they were gonna push that ambiguous angle with them because you know that's what the fans want. Let's be real. This dude said the paneling. It's an anime. There are no panels. Some people's expectations are just unrealistic. That's the point. Though Fujimoto's paneling gives Chainsaw Man a certain feel that you can't capture in an anime. That's literally the point. In the video, the part that he's talking about, I was listing out all the things that MAPPA failed to capture in the anime adaptation, and I mentioned paneling as one of those things, right? In the medium of manga, right? Let me break this down for y'all. Try to stay with me. They draw these squares, right? Squares. And they have pictures inside of them, and you can like read these squares in a certain sequence and they'll tell you a story. The layout of these so-called panels can be done strategically to evoke a certain feel or aesthetic. For example, Fujimoto will often use repeating panels or panels with very subtle or very dramatic changes between them. This creates a certain vibe, right? It's very difficult to capture this in anime, and not just Chainsaw Man, anime adaptations in general, because obviously there are no panels. It's just one continuous sequence. Although you can't fault an anime for that because it's a completely different medium, there is still a difference. There are always going to be those things that can't translate from the page to the screen, and that's why I brought that up. Because for better or worse, whether you like it or not, that's going to change the feel of the show. And yet there are shows that instead elevate other parts of the adaptation to make up for the things that are lost in the transition from source material to anime on the screen. Chainsaw Man does this as well, but like I said, it just doesn't work for me. So basically you wanted the anime to be comical and gritty. I don't know where you got comical from. Did I ever say that? But I loved how the actual anime was realistic and quite cinematic with real life movements and whatnot. At times, I even thought I was watching a live action or something. Yeah, that's a good point, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier, that the production team really focused on making it feel like a movie. That's what they were going for. That's the vision MAPPA had, and they executed it. Whether you like it or not is a different story. You clearly like it, which is fine, but I obviously disagree, and that's okay. Also, apparently the ending tier list joke went over a lot of people's heads, which, bro, it's funny seeing how upset people were over it. People were like, how could you rank this ending at this level, and how could you rank this at that? But everyone is commenting different rankings, like... It's too good. Also, it looks like everyone is pretty much in agreement with my Kobani meat riding. Not really surprised there. Like I said, she's obviously a fan favorite character. And maybe even more surprisingly, a lot of people agreed with the fact that hearing her voice was a bit annoying, which is kind of wild considering the controversy I mentioned in my video. I guess it's because at this point it's died down and nobody really cares anymore, but I was a little surprised to not see Kobani defenders up in arms, but also, to be fair, I was meat riding her too, so maybe that kind of, you know, dulled the sting of my critiques or whatever. But yeah, thanks for so many comments though. Y'all showed a lot of love on that video with the likes as well. Appreciate y'all for real. I can't wait for the second core because all these iconic characters are gonna show up, all these big moments, all these crazy scenes. Oh fuck, it's gonna be dope. I'm curious if they'll keep up with the multiple endings though. That'd be interesting. Or oh man, what if they switch it up and they had 12 different openings and like one ending? That would be a move, man. That's some Monogatari shit. Anyway, that's all I want to talk about. Just a nice, chill first video, minimal editing, because I ain't got time for all that. Like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, because I'm going to get more frequent with the content posted on this channel. So subscribe to this channel, subscribe to the main channel. Oh, and give me money on Patreon. But yeah, I guess the idea for now is to do supplementary content to the main channel videos. Yeah, that's what it'll be for now, but expect other stuff too. We'll see once I come up with it. Leave suggestions in the comments on what you want to see. I'll maybe take them into consideration, but otherwise that's the video. Peace.